Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I have a fun conversation with a shipmate, United States Navy. He made it to E8, senior chief, a fantastic human being, and also the founder of Triad Leadership Solutions. And if you yourself on a personal level, or you're a company or a business owner, or working your way up and need to level up your leadership, listen to this. The knowledge nuggets that my really good friend Enrique Acosta Gonzalez drops is absolutely mind-blowing. And the thing is we are so in tune. I even joked that said we're kind of brothers with different mothers on here, with not only just the Navy and the military commonality, but also just our kind of philosophies about how we coach others, consult others, and mentor others. So this is when you want to break out your notebooks. If you like it, please smash the like button, subscribe if you like. My sponsors and affiliates absolutely love that. So without further ado, here comes my really good friend, Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, my shipmate. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and that I get really jazzed up and fired up and leveled up when I get to speak to another shipmate. Gentleman here, my good friend, Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, served 26 years in the United States Navy, the world's finest Navy, best Navy in the whole wide world. And his leadership also got him, he clept out. It was clept out with the courses that you could take in college level examination procedure, something like that. It was back in the day, but he did it right while he was in serving our country, serving others through ministry, and did it right. And he ended up kind of going to this school with an H, this Harvard school, right? And this man is named number 76 out of the top 200 thought leaders to follow, a nominee of the top 30 global gurus, 2023 top 200 biggest voices in leadership, 2023 global 100 executive coach of the year, 2023 best CEO mentorship and leadership development firm, top 10 inspiring leaders of 2023. He's a best-selling author and an award-winning podcaster, which his podcast is Developing the Leader Within podcast. Don't go there yet. There'll be a link in the show notes. But the best part about it is he helps leaders go from success to success. And that's suck, S-U-C-K, to S-U-C-C-E-S-S. And shipmate Enrique, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
It's actually a combination of red and black, and it's my town colors.
Oh, red and black for what town colors?
It is a town called Ponce, Puerto Rico.
Oh, in Puerto Rico. Okay. Very cool, man. Very cool. Do you ever get to go back to Puerto Rico much, or?
Yeah, I've been, the last time was August, a couple of years ago, to celebrate my dad's 95th birthday.
Oh, wow. 95th. That's some longevity there. That means you got some good genes. This world needs you around here. So
I'm looking at 100. So
let's go, man. I think 114 years old, you live to 1,000,000 minutes, something like that. And that's something I would love to make it to. Unless God decides to take me in his own way, a car wreck or a plane crash. I live that way. I'm saying we're probably pretty close to the same age. I'm 52. I know that you went in the Navy a year before me. So like
I'm 52 as well.
So we take care of each other. Look at us, dude. You know what I'm saying? Good for us. Good for us. Look at us. Look at me pushing our own buttons. So let's get to the roots, my friend. I mean, from what we kind of talked about off mic, you're Puerto Rican, and then you moved kind of to the Bronx, right? You give us a little backstory on that time.
Yeah, it looks like it was out of necessity for my mom leaving and separating a marriage that may have been a little arduous for her. Sure. And she made her way to the Bronx. And we first started in Long Island, went to Manhattan, okay, a place they call La Marqueta, El Barrio, Hispanic or Spanish Harlem.
Yes.
And then made our way to South Bronx, and that's where I grew up. Went to DeWitt Clinton High School. I was on my way to Cornell University through the U.S. Air Force ROTC. I was going to be an actual Air Force officer.
Wow.
But things changed. And my mom was like, nah, I want to be by my parents. They're getting older. So she took us back to Puerto Rico.
Oh,
and I said, okay, so those plans for officer route are gone. Let me just enlist and get off the island.
Wow. So you're ROTC then when you're up there.
Yeah. Okay. I was in ROTC through the high school.
Sure.
And,
yeah.
And it was going to transfer to the main ROTC for the officer corps.
Right. Wow. So you were did you kind of, I guess, graduate high school then in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
My last and only year
Okay.
was in
Oh
their school
wow.
system was my 12th grade.
Oh jeez. Jeez. Did you lose any of your Spanish, like kind of moving up in the United States for a while and then having to go there and have to catch up even though you're a senior?
Yeah, no, I learned English and Spanish at the same time. So Spanish
That's
was
good.
my first language,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
we moved I think I was 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
So I learned English, but it's in school, right?
Right.
So you learn very quickly as a kid. And
Yeah.
I think I lost more Spanish serving in the military than I did actually being in the front.
I bet. So you were there in, was it? I've never really asked anybody this before because you're born in Puerto Rico and you kind of came to the United States and went back. Was it hard to enlist in the United States military?
No,
No?
we're naturalized citizens, meaning
Okay.
that when we're born, we are just as a citizen as everybody else in the U.S.
Love it. Love it, man. So tell me a little bit about the Navy times, man. Like
Oh,
what?
Navy times. Wow.
Did
Yeah,
you go to Great
that's
Lakes or Orlando? Where'd you go to boot?
I went to Orlando. So it's funny because my career is considered what would be a bookend career, meaning
Okay.
I started in Orlando. My first duty station was Hawaii. I ended my last duty station in Hawaii and ended up in Orlando. So a bookend, that's what they call a bookend career. You
Yeah.
started and you ended where you began. But we was in the same time. I enlisted November 13th, 1989. So
89.
at the
Okay.
end of 89.
Hmm.
And we went through the same thing, Gulf War,
Hmm.
several conflicts.
Hmm.
And the next couple of wars, I kind of participated in because I was on ships at
Hmm.
during those times.
Yeah, yeah.
My last one, of course, Afghanistan, and actually 9/11 was what pushed us out there.
Yeah.
And the USS Iwo Jima, which I was on,
Oh, you're in the Eagle. Okay.
yeah, and we were the first ARG there on site, and then the war started, right? So we got to see a lot of things.
The shock and awe stuff back then, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. What was the biggest leadership before we move into your company here? What was the
Yeah.
biggest leadership lessons you really pulled forward from the military?
The biggest leadership lesson was that you can fake leadership.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
that'll hit you right between the eyes.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of leaders, unfortunately. My first 3 years was very, very brutal to me.
Okay.
But you learn that there are two types of leaders, ones that play the role and ones that live the role. And fortunately, I was under someone that played the role.
Mm,
And but I learned quickly that that was not what I wanted to be, and it actually was the catalyst to me going forward into the career that I'm in now.
got you. I got you. Yeah, that is so true. I never really thought about that, but there was a lot of imitators, people just saying what they wanted or they thought other people would want to say, really not taking the reins. Even if it was something as simple as field day, you remember those, right?
Oh
Going
yeah.
out and cleaning everything and whatnot. And there was never really anybody taking leadership. And that's what's kind of crazy is one thing I noticed is that when I was in boot camp, it was a culture shock for me because I grew up in Detroit, but like a white boy suburb, right? And so when I went in the military and boot camp, there's people in there, I didn't care what color their skin was, but they're like, well, I'm here because the judge said either
Hmm.
going to jail or the
Yeah, that
military. So for them to develop leadership out of that, the people that are there just to avoid jail had to have been at that time because when we're young, we're not thinking about it as much, right?
right.
We're just like surviving, right? But now you look back on it like, wow. Sometimes I look up and the Facebook phenomenon back in 05, 06 allowed me to look up a lot of the people that I served with and see where they made. I was pleasantly surprised to see how well, maybe they're faking it online too, but that's crazy. So let's move forward a little bit. You got out of the military after 26 years, honorably done. Senior chief, which squad like senior chief is one step below as high as you can get, and in the enlisted side, him and I would have to salute the commission officers, but senior chief's pretty legit, man. So that was congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
But like let's get out. You're discharged. You're kind of going through that transition. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, what's going to happen? That's what's going through my
Yeah,
mind. You
because you're young.
26 years, right?
You're
Yeah,
young,
20.
man.
Right. I mean, everything's ahead of you, but it's funny because in relation to the workforce, you're not young. But in relation to experience, you got your whole life ahead of you and you got something to give. So trying to find the place to be in that span of experience required type
Sure.
of environment, it was difficult. And I think every transitioning military person, unless they get a great mentor, I would say the last 10 years of their
Thank you.
career, then everybody goes through this, an identity crisis, right?
Yes.
We've been wearing this uniform. I don't have to think twice about what I'm going to wear today because it's right there and I put it on and I get instant recognition,
You
right?
do.
I would come into an auditorium and
Yeah.
it gets quiet, right?
Yeah.
So that goes away. And so
Yes.
who am I now? And so though that's what I was thinking. What's going to happen? How
Love it.
how am I going to navigate this? Am I ready for it?
Sure.
But we worked through it.
Yeah. So you've been out about 7 years. Am I doing my
Yeah,
math
about
correctly?
7, 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it was December 2015 when I
Gotcha.
fully
Gotcha.
separated. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So tribal leadership, where did this kind of the foundations, triad leadership, where
Yeah.
did the foundations come from that?
Yeah, well, my service in the Navy was
Okay.
one. So if you see on my logo, right, you see the trident, right? That's the triad,
Yes.
three-pointed organizational structure, which is the CO, XO, and the CMC.
Yes.
I was fortunate to have served the last about 6, 7 years as a command senior chief. And that was great because that's basically an opportunity for an E8 to execute E9 responsibilities. So
Yes.
it was great. And so that's where Triad was really birthed from. I love the three-prong leadership approach to organizations. If you ask me, if a civilian company would ask me what would make us great, it would be to establish a triadic leadership structure. CEO or CEO,
Mm-hmm.
the XO, COO,
Right.
and hire someone that is the role of the command master chief, senior chief.
And someone that's kind of in the trenches with them, and
Yes.
preferably probably somebody. Tell me your thoughts on this. Someone that kind of came up through the company, because like especially if they're in the trenches, like if they're there overseeing what you did as an E8, basically a CMC, if I remember correctly, kind of like they coasted. They know they're kind of on their way out. The senior chief command, the command senior chief did everything, dude. That's what I remember and seeing that. So I love that approach, man, with that. So are you working with companies or more one-on-one right now, or what are you working with here?
Yeah, right now it's one-on-one and topic specific, right? So Enrique, we have a veteran ERG group that would like some leadership perspectives, trying to get them through our company. So I'll go talk to them, depending on the topic. Hey, Enrique, we're having some communications issues. I know that you kind of train on that. Can you come in here and I'll go and I'll meet and I'll train and I'll kind of mentor.
Okay.
But a lot of the calls are, hey, Enrique, can we talk? Because I can't really let nobody know that I'm actually getting help,
Yeah.
but I
No, I
need
get
it.
it.
And
Yeah.
so there's a level of discretion in my field of work. And a lot of people take advantage of that.
Good. That's good. They should, in a good way, to take advantage of it. So maybe you're in a one-on-one situation, maybe a discovery conversation, making sure you're the right horse for the course for
Oh, yeah.
their leadership or coaching or consulting. And like, is there any secret sauce you don't mind sharing here, Enrique, that you help them kind of shine a light on that initial blind spot?
Yeah, the awareness. That if any secret sauce is that a lot of people have knowledge of things. They're just not aware. And it's funny to say that you could have knowledge of something but not be aware.
Yes.
But that is really where the hardest things to work through happen. That if you're not aware that you are a participatory member in the issues that you think you have, then we have other issues, right? And so
Yes.
what I do is bring in the element of awareness to the point where you can identify where you are being responsible for.
Mm,
And then that cuts the actual addressing an issue by half
right.
because you control you. And so that's,
I
if
love
anything,
that.
is the secret sauce.
I love that. And so responsibility, you said it, responsible. What is your definition of responsibility, Enrique?
Yeah. Well, responsibility is the ability to respond, right?
Thank you. That's the exact words I say. It's the
Yeah, it's
exact
the
words I
ability.
say. It's
And
right
so,
rooted in the word,
yeah,
right?
and a lot of people gloss over that, right? And they're
Yes.
looking for actions
Yes.
that are past them.
You just
Oh,
said awareness, and that's what it's about. If you're aware to it, yeah, this is awesome. You're like my brother from another mother, man. I swear, this is awesome. This is awesome. So, Enrique, let's say you're still in that discovery conversation, right?
yeah.
And is there any good question that you wish that they would ask you but never do?
Yeah, I hardly ever get questions because the person calling is actually seeking,
Sure, sure.
right? So, but if I were to say one of the more frequent questions that comes up, which is no doubt, how much is this gonna
Thank you.
cost? Okay?
Don't be afraid to ask
How
it.
much is that gonna?
Yeah,
But you have to know that, right?
sure. Absolutely.
And then also what I also let them know is that we could do budget. We could do
Sure.
budget,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just consider that budget is
Yeah.
a point where now you're dealing with this from that perspective. And so once you start bringing in the money question, which
Yeah.
is okay, you
Sure.
should know, and I
Right.
encourage everybody to use it to
Sure.
ask.
Absolutely.
But now you have automatically limited yourself
Right.
to a budget. So
100%.
yeah.
I love it. So what makes a great coach then?
A great coach is one that lives and actually has one.
Yes.
I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, I say, look, don't hire me if I don't have one. Don't,
Right.
because I need help too.
Yeah.
And so you
Absolutely.
also should have the confidence that if there's anything that I may have trouble with, that I have resources to get the answer.
Thank you. 100%. People ask, I'll have my client or prospect, well, what do you pay for coaching? You don't, kind of, they don't want to know. But it's almost 5 figures a month. I tell them because I have coaches, because for me to pour into you, I better know my stuff. 100%, man. I love that. I love that approach to that. And so would you consider yourself, because I see leadership, like I don't teach too much leadership, or I don't coach too much leadership. I'm a coach. I believe everyone knows what they want. They just don't know how to talk themselves into it, right? And
Right.
that every challenge they have, that they have the answer. It's just my curiosity gets it out of them, right? So are you more of a coach or a consultant, or are you more of a coach-sultant?
Yeah. And it's consultant mental.
Okay. I love it.
It's three-pronged actually. And
Ooh, yeah,
yeah,
man.
so there's some people that need coaching. And so
Mm,
through you mentioned the discovery call.
sure.
Through the discovery call, I can tell you whether you need coaching, mentorship, or some just consulting.
Yeah, help me out. Yeah.
And so that's the very first thing that is a benefit to the caller, right? Because sometimes they say, "Oh, I need a coach," and all they need is advice.
Yeah.
And so it's different. So you as a coach need to know during that conversation what the need is, and then say, "Hey, you called me for coaching, but what this really is
Right.
this.
Right.
Would you like to proceed down that road
Sure.
versus this one?"
I love it. I love it. That is a great objection handle, for a lack of a better term. I'm saying, because you never know, because some people will come to me, and if they're in real estate, and I've been a broker since 1999, so I can consult them if that's what they want.
Right, right.
I'd rather figure it out on their own, in a sense. Because if they're like, Fergie, I did this and it didn't work, you're an idiot. Then I'd rather them be like, take the onus and the responsibility and the ability to respond on themselves.
Right.
So what are your strengths then, Enrique? What do you feel your strengths are?
And my humility. A leader that is not humble has already gone down a road they shouldn't have gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about weaknesses? What are you still
Weakness,
working on?
Yeah, timeliness, not in terms of showing up on time, but the amount of time I dedicate. Because
Sure.
sometimes I get just so enamored with what I'm doing that I end up giving more than I should. My
Right.
wife is always saying, "Hey, wasn't that supposed to be an hour? You've been there for 3." You know,
Oh, yeah, that's true. Hold into that commitment that they agreed to as well.
right, right.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, have we're the same age, so you've seen the movie Back to the Future, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the Double Deuce. All right, the
Hmm.
22-year-old Enrique, probably an E4, E3, E4 by then, right? So let's go back to him. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on him? Not to change your journey, Enrique, okay? Because your journey is
Yeah.
pretty awesome, right? But to maybe help him shorten a learning curve and blast through maybe just a little bit quicker.
Yeah. So for me during that time, like I said, it was very, very difficult time for me in the military. What I would have told myself is that not everything that's bad is meant for your demise. I I really took those years as a personal attack when it
Mm,
actually was just a reflection of a broken man.
right.
That's
Wow.
all that was.
And one that's still maturing because we were young then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were kind of talking off mic about a couple different things and how the Navy's a lot different and a lot better in many ways now compared to when you and I are
Yeah.
my first 7 years and your first 10 years. Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do you want your dash remembered then? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the road because you and I are going to live a long
Yeah. Yeah.
time if
Yeah.
it's God's will. But how do you want your dash remembered?
Yeah. He made a difference in my life.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's all that you can ask for. Did you make a difference in somebody's life?
Love that. And that's kind of enough said in a sense. I mean, it's what life's about. I mean, I get up in the morning, I serve nothing but my God and Scott Ferguson for the first 90 minutes. That's it, man. I give myself my first 90 because the rest of the other, it can be 8 hours, it can be 14 hours is about
Right.
others. So as
Exactly.
long as I'm out there making a difference, I know I have to take care of me. And obviously you take care of you as well. So Enrique, what do you think people might misunderstand the most about you?
They might misunderstand. Some people think I'm haughty,
Meaning,
meaning I represent myself in a way that can be confused for haughtiness, pride.
okay.
I take a lot of pride,
Yeah, and your
especially,
appearance. Yes.
and so,
Yes.
but, and then how I speak, I've been often told that I leave people behind.
Okay. That's fine.
So,
Yeah.
but like I was mentioning the first 3 years. So the first 3 years, I took the dictionary and I started eating it, like to combat what was coming at me
Yes.
from leadership.
Yes.
And so what happened was that became a weapon.
Mm.
And then I started using words that they could not understand or even look up,
Right.
right?
Right.
And now I started leaving people behind. But that's why I was mentioning what can I go back to? I would say don't confuse those times of trials that and confuse it for your demise.
Yeah.
I
And I
had
and
to
that
pick my weapon, right?
yeah, and I almost think a lot of what you said about humility is in that as well, where you learn through the years and experience that you're trying almost not to leave people behind, even though you might be miles ahead of them in maybe intellect or your knowledge, but you're also open to learning, which I've noticed as well. So that's amazing. So anything keep you up at night?
No,
No?
actually.
I'm getting better
Uh,
at that too, man.
yeah,
You ever miss the motion of the ships? I do. I'll tell you that right
I
now, man. I
that
miss
that
that.
that time, right? Look, when I laid down for the night, I first thank God
Yeah.
for the ability to do so.
Yes.
Not everybody gets to lay in their bed every night,
Mm.
and then I kind of pray around. My wife is with me. I'm not mourning today.
Right.
My kids are in their rooms. I don't have to worry about what they are.
Sure.
And I'm in a home. So far cry from where I started, right?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
a kid.
Absolutely.
But so those things just put me at ease, and I just go right to sleep.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. When you can like let go, right? And know that it's not just it's okay, but there's kind of a higher power that's there for you as well. My God, I'm a Christian guy. So I lean on that. That's beautiful. I've gotten a lot better through help with some sleep studies and stuff like that with friends and holistically helping me. That's beautiful. So what is Enrique's definition of a life well lived?
If my children succeed at the things that I did not, I lived my life well.
I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's beautiful. We are back, and Enrique, definitely, we live so close. We gotta, especially this bright line, man. I took that train a couple weeks ago. It was like an hour and 40 minutes from Jupiter to Orlando. It wasn't even 2 hours. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful ride.
Love
So
it.
we got to meet sometime for a coffee or a tea or
Absolutely.
something and wrap. And we'll talk about some of these for 15, 20 minutes, these questions. But today, you got 5 seconds with no explanations, and I promise you they can be answered that way. Do you ready to level up?
Let's go.
All right. Enrique, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Don't take everything so seriously.
Yes. My mentor used to say, don't take life so seriously, too seriously, we're not making that alive, right? Absolutely. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Prayer.
Yes. So you see me walking down the street and you're like, man, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. Or you see me somewhere, I'm just not looking at the energy that I usually am. What book might you hand me other than the good book?
Good to great.
Yes, absolutely. Any most commonly used emoji when you text?
The celebration.
Yeah, my man. Nicknames growing up?
Kike, Rick, Slick.
Slick Rick.
There's
I love it.
all kind of stuff.
I love it. If you could be one age for the rest of your life, then gain all the wisdom, I'm sorry, one age physically for the rest of your life, keep all the wisdom you've gained and continue to garner knowledge. What age physically would you stay for the rest of your life?
I would say 35.
Thank you. I was going to say, you better say something between 30 and 35. Absolutely. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Checkers.
Any hidden talent or superpower that you have that nobody really knows about until now?
Musician, 10
Wow.
instruments, I would say.
That's awesome. Headline for your life?
Service.
Yeah, absolutely. Go-to ice cream flavor?
Oh, wow. Butter pecan.
There you go. There's a sandwich called the Slick Rick Enrique.
Woo!
Build that sandwich sandwich for me.
It's loaded. It looks like an Italian with a lot of veggies.
I love it. Love it. Favorite charity and or organization you'd like to give your time and or money to?
Yeah, Camaraderie Foundation here in Orlando.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, they address the invisible wounds of veterans and their families, and I'm a mentor for them for the last 7 years. So
that's beautiful. That is absolutely. Is that in Florida?
Yeah, it's in Orlando.
Okay.
They are also located in Tampa as well.
Oh, beautiful. And last question, you can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I would say 80s.
I was going to say you better, man. It's like that decade had everything. I mean, it phased out the disco, right? But you had the invasions from like Run DMC and the Beastie Boys, from overseas with U2 and Duran Duran and Men at Work, and like everything. The Big Hair Don't Care, glam rock, metal rock. It had like everything in that decade. And not even that, just the movies too. I mean, come on, man. John Hughes is the best. So I know that you have the Developing the Leader Within podcast, but you said you authored a book too?
Yeah, there's several books actually that I've been collaborated with or
Nice.
collaborating author. And I'm currently working on mine, which is, I'll say, taking you from success to success.
I love it. Dude, that is awesome. That is awesome. Is it kind of written from a first person, or is it a parable, or like what's it written from?
Yeah, it's written from a kind of like a how-to. It's like kind of like
with a memoir kind of built in from your experiences. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. So how can we find you?
Yeah, I reside mostly on LinkedIn, and that's usually where I'm at.
Beautiful.
Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, you can find me there, or you can look for Developing the Leader Within wherever you hear podcasts and find me there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be a link to his show in the podcast as well. He has a lot of solid interviews and some knowledge nuggets that he drops himself. And Enrique, do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Yeah, life is not as serious as it seems at times. Now, I won't diminish the pain that
Sure.
comes through a lot of circumstances, but give yourself a chance. If something's coming up, give yourself a chance. Put the stakes, put the money, put the chips on you. You're the one that has to do that. We can cheer you on, but give yourself a chance.
I love that, man. And squad, we just had like a fun conversation with my shipmate, who's become a good friend of mine now, Enrique Acosta Gonzalez. And he reminded us that you can have two types of leadership. One is fake leadership, and then there's one that's real leadership. Don't be the fake relationship. Play the role. Don't play the role. You live the role. Live it. Be the example for people. I love this example with the triad, the 3 tips with the CEO, the COO, and kind of like a master chief that oversees kind of the workers and all of them communicating with each other in building a business together that's fun and people really want to live and lean into. That a lot of people have knowledge of things, he reminded us, but not be aware. Awareness is where the magic happens. And to make that magic happen, you have to participate. You have to get out there and get over it, get after it. Also, a great coach has a great coach or coaches. I know Enrique has coaches, myself have coaches. We lean in and serve the masses, but we also have to have shoulders for us to stand on, to be able to see ahead, to be able to give you the knowledge that we have to give you. He's going to be remembered as somebody that has humility and strength, and he does things for the intention, not the attention that I see. He's not like rah rah rah, look at me. I know we all have egos, and he's very confident, but he's not out showing it like he's all of that. A life well lived to him is someone that made a difference, and that if his children can succeed at the things he did not, that is definitely the epitome of a life well lived. And lastly, life is not really as serious as it seems. There's going to be pain that you're going to go through in circumstances, but squad, give yourself grace and space. Take a step back and bet on yourself. And that's what my good friend Enrique does. He levels up his health. He levels up his wealth. He's hungry, yet he's humble. He's a handsome devil. He's earned his varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on, Enrique. Absolutely love your guts, shipmate.
No, thank you, Scott, for having me, and thank you all for listening.
Absolutely. Chat soon.
All right.